So I've been thinking about PD and wondering about ways that professional development can be boosted. And I can't help but think about all the times that I've been to weekend conferences or after hours conferences, and when I think of those weekend conferences and I think of those after hours conferences, so stuff that doesn't necessarily fall into the school day, some stuff that I see happening quite often that I've just never seen happen, I guess, as openly at a staff meeting session. And you know, there's elements about being in a staff meeting that I think are part of staff meetings in general, and then there's elements of staff meetings that might be specific to education, and there's definitely elements of staff meetings that I bet you if someone who started teaching 20 years ago were to walk into a current staff meeting, they may in fact look at that staff meeting and say, wow, this is a lot like when I first started teaching. In the same way, I've thought about, you know, standing in my own classroom right now. So, geez, over 30 years in the past. And as I stand in my classroom, or I walk into a new classroom and I see the row on row seats, and I see the chalkboard with the date in the top right corner, and I see the pencil sharpener off to the one side, there's elements of the classroom that kind of cue you that you're in a classroom, and definitely there's elements in classrooms right now that look exactly like they did 30 years ago. Now, don't get me wrong, there are things that, you know, that are consistent in teaching and education that probably should stay. But there are other things about teaching and education that in the process of updating, I haven't gotten rid of pieces. It's almost like that big course binder that you have on the shelf that has all those amazing handouts in it, but really when you start to kind of pull apart those handouts, you start to realize that there's duplicates, and there's ones that are kind of faded, and there's even some that might be stuck together. And sort of when I think about staff meetings and, let's say, current versions of professional development and the way that it's delivered, I can't help but think that there's a few rejigs that would really boost the willingness, the retention, the fun, the building and sharing that can come out of a collaborative professional development session. So the things I've been thinking about, here's the things I've been thinking about. I've been thinking about how at professional development sessions that I've volunteered to go to, so it's not the ones that are during the kind of the school day, the work day, but on weekends and after school. Here's the things that I've seen, and I would really like to start, I'm going to start to find ways of working this into the element. So here's the first thing. At professional development, outside of the bells, you consistently see people using learning tools that are comfortable to them. Some people are taking notes, some people are drawing, some people are on iPads, some people are using their devices, some people are using conversation, some people are just looking. But there's a real freedom to learn in whatever is your favorite mode ever. That's the first thing. Second thing, the setups for many of these PDs are kind of open-ended, as in there could be rows, there could be tables, there could be spaces to go and talk. They don't just all hang on a hub and expect the wheel to turn accordingly. People can sort of vote with their feet, move in and out of sessions. They can pose questions. They can sort of back channel conversations. They're not bound to that central hub. Third, the sharing, actually I'll do it a different way. The capturing, curating, and sharing framework is so powerful. You have instructors, of course, talking to one another. You have individuals taking pictures. You have other people capturing video, and that's just for their own use. If you're following any of the back channels during that session, you are definitely able to have conversations with someone that you might not even meet that day, but they've become your digital friend. And finally, the best stuff that I've seen happening at a PD session is driven by the individuals that are at the session. So whether that would be basically it's the attendees. The attendees are the ones that are presenting. It's not just kind of being emailed in and then delivered singularly to everyone sitting there waiting row on row, but you have individuals of, I guess, stakeholders, but participants, more accurately, the participants are delivering whatever the big idea is at the session. This is, this post in itself is probably more of a reminder to me about what I feel grows me as an educator, but also kind of inspires me and connects me to education. And I know I'm going to come back to this post again and again because there is something just a little bit too long in the tooth about the way professional development is kind of released to me as an educator. And I'm more than happy to go looking for my own stuff, but I think there's probably some elements here that we can capture from the PD outside the bells and bring it back into the school. Anyways, that was my thing for today. Adios.